Las Vegas Journal afternoon, Bruce. I gave the guys a day off yesterday. I guess just what was the focus and kind of mood like when they came back to learn today?
It's good. It's a long travel day. You're adjusting to times again, right? You seem to just get yourself acclimated to the East Coast time and you're back here. So even today, I think there's a little bit of that going on. So we had a light skate, got some touches in, get the heart rate up. Ourselves ready for tomorrow. So guys were in good. They're obviously in good spirits. Why wouldn't they be, you know?
Stay on the left side, second row.
Hi, Bruce. Danny Webster, Las Vegas Sun. You kind of touched on it yesterday. A couple of guys touched on it today about just the emotion of going into tomorrow in that environment, what it might be like. Just, I guess, how do you kind of balance the emotion of what that environment will be like tomorrow and try to deliver what would need to be their best hockey game of the year tomorrow?
Well, that's a good question, how you balance that, because I've heard a few of the players say it. We're aware of what's at stake and how big a game this is for guys as individuals, with the organization, the city, all those things. But it's what we play for, so we're ready for it. We've just played Florida 4 times, so we have a feel for. Every team changes a little thing. We don't change your whole game. We know what we're up against and how we need to play to win. So I think that part, once the puck drops, is fine, as long as you can get there to the puck drop, or your mind is where it's supposed to be and not on all the other things that go along with it, right? So, and that's sometimes that's maturity, and I like that about our group. They've been there. Some of them missed once. A number of them have gotten it, and there's a small group of guys it's their first time. So the first time guys, I'd be a little more. They may be a little more anxious or nervous. So we'll have to make sure we're communicating with them or getting to them to make sure they're in a good place. But that's what the older guys in the room have done all year. For these, you can't replicate this circumstance, but other circumstances like it. So I think, like I said, we'll be in a good place.
On the right side here, standing up.
Hi, Bruce. Jean-François Chaumont from Journal de Montréal. When you took that job 1 year ago, you knew that Jonathan Marchessault was a real good hockey player. But what are the things that you were not aware that makes him a special player?
Well, I looked at as a guy who could score goals and make plays, but you don't see the little spitfire in him, so to speak, right? I know he certainly earned his way up. When I was coaching in the minors, he was playing on certain teams, so it wasn't automatic for him. He has a good year, and then he gets picked up, so there's a little bit of that. Might be a chip on his shoulder, too, type of thing, but so you don't know those inner workings of the player other than what he does on the ice. So I see a guy who, tell you what I learned about him, he's here every day with his kids. He's a good hockey dad. He's coaching his kids. He's working with them every day. They run around the locker room, so that's great to see. A very, very competitive guy. And every drill, he's got to win in practice. And if he does, you hear about it. So there's always guys like that in the room that bring up the energy level. So those are the things I wouldn't have known about him. And it's good for our room. He's great for our room. There's a lot of back and forth when he's involved in anything in practice, and he can elevate our practice level days that there isn't energy. So you need a few of those guys as well.
Front row, right side.
Hi, Bruce. Ian from Sportsnet. At this point of the final, is it as impressive to you how Adin Hill is handling things mentally as he is physically playing?
Yeah, I think I'd put him in that question from Danny about different guys are at different places in their careers and have had exposure to this type of playoff hockey. And he's one of those guys that we've got to keep an eye on to make sure, that hasn't had it yet. He's playing great. So, what do you say to him, right? You want to just keep going. So I think it is. And I think it is for goalies in general. It's just a position you play where there's a lot of mental challenges. Spotlights on you, both good and bad. So it'll be a challenge for him. But he's handled all those things up to this point. So I think he'll be fine. The good thing he's got Jonathan Quick right there to go to, who's been through it all. So I think that helps him as well. Sean and him have a great relationship. So I think if there's anything is there, he'd certainly reach out to those guys and hopefully that'll help him. But I don't think there is. I think he's fine. He's just got that personality.
Right side, third row.
Hi, Bruce. Jesse Granger at The Athletic. We've talked to the players a lot about what this feeling's like, playing one win away from the cup and the excitement and the energy level, the emotion you have to deal with. Does it feel any different for you these couple days and going into this game? Is there any added nervousness or anything?
I don't get nervous a lot. It's more anxious. Like, we want to get playing. We want to see where we're at. Like, what's going to happen? You know, or as a coach, you've spent a lot of time preparing, but you don't play. So, I mean, you could do nothing, and the guys can go out there and play great, and you can prepare every little detail, and it does, you know, and they don't play well. And you know what I mean? So that's the anxious part for me. But I'm going by the recent history, and I think we've played well every game. Pockets of the game where they've certainly been better than us, but I feel overall our game is in a good place. So I feel good about it. If our game wasn't in a good place, I'd probably have knots in my stomach wondering what's going to happen. But I like where it's at, and as a coach, you know, that usually which calms you down. If the unexpected will always bother you, but I just feel like we're going to go out and play well tomorrow. Will it be good enough? I don't know. We'll find out tomorrow. I don't know what Florida's going to bring, but I think we'll be on our game. Like I said, I just want to get going.
Take a few more questions, left side, third row.
Hi, Bruce. Luke Fox, Sportsnet. Just wondering what you think makes the Vegas hockey fan base so unique, and if there's been an interaction or a moment that you've had this year that really kind of drilled home the connection between the team and the city.
I don't know if there's a defining moment. I'm in this rink a lot and out in Henderson because my kids play, so I've interacted a lot. So I don't know if there'd be a defining moment. They're very passionate, just like when I came from Boston, I was in a lot of rinks. So I see a very passionate fan base early on. So there hasn't been a team here that long, so they've gotten behind their team quickly. Some of that has to do, I think, with the first year's success they had. So they love the sport. The parents and the kids are in it. Interaction might be more with older guys that are in beer league tournaments here. I've seen that, might, you know what I mean? Guy I played with in Italy, you know, different things like that. But to me, the fan base is behind the team 100%. They're very positive. You know, they haven't been jaded from negative experiences. I think it's been mostly positive. I think that helps with interaction, especially as a coach. So yeah, that's what I think with our fan base. You saw it here today. They're behind their team. They want good things to happen for their team. Vegas born. I think that means a lot to this group. It's basically the first professional franchise. So that's what I've learned about this group. And then I said it, and I saw something the other day. I think Nate said there was 60, how many thousands of license plates. When I first got here, all the Vegas license plates, I was shocked by how many there are driving around. Usually they're specialty plates. You might see one every 5 miles, but they're everywhere. So it tells me the fans are behind their team. It's just a little thing, but that's what I noticed when I first got here. But yeah.
Two more questions, left side, second row.
Ryan Clark, ESPN. Bruce, we've talked to players about being in this position to clinch, but you know what it's like to be on the other end of this where you're trying to keep your season going in a cup final. Like, have you been able to draw from that experience going into tomorrow, knowing how desperate Florida's going to be to try to keep this thing going?
Yeah, I don't try to get in the heads of Florida and relate that to our players. I honestly don't. I mean, they've been on both sides of it too, right? So they know the desperate levels, and because I can't predict how Florida's going to play. I can watch how they adjusted a little bit in the third period and opened up some ice for themselves. So we talked about that a lot this morning, and will again tomorrow, how we can shut some of that down. So that's more the messaging I have. And where our heads are at. You know, as the game goes on, yes, I have a feeling how they're going to respond, and then we'll use that accordingly. But I don't want to sort of talk about an unknown yet. We'll talk about the knowns, what we have to do, and where our heads are at, if that makes any sense.